Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers here today. I'm Fiona Lang Sharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Welcome to all of you joining us here today. We're talking about our upcoming Gold Conference here. Our Gold Birth and Beyond Conference is almost ready upon us. And of course, we're sitting down with some of our speakers and chatting with them. Today, we have Kimberly Bepler in the house, and I'm very excited to be talking to friend and colleague here about a really important topic that always strikes me as something that we just don't get an opportunity to talk enough about. Welcome, Kimberly. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Fiona. I'm doing great. I'm so excited about being here, and this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm super glad to be presenting to all my super intelligent colleagues and friends in this world.
That's awesome. And the topic that we're talking about is the crying curve and the impact on postpartum and breastfeeding. So, this topic itself, the crying curve, has always been of great interest to me. I always feel though that we don't take advantage of it enough when we're talking with clients. And honestly, Kimberly, I have to say that the time that I'm speaking to my clients, which I know you're going to tell me right now is not optimal, is that I'm trying to explain this in the midst of the hardest time when the curve is peaking. Is that what you hear from, your colleagues? Is they're trying to communicate it all at the wrong time?
I definitely find that families are doing better if they've heard the information prenatally, for sure.
Right.
As they go back to revisit it, they go, oh, that's right. They talked about that in class. This is what that means, right? They're kind of connecting those dots of prenatal education with their experience. But I will say it's still extremely reassuring to hear in the midst of it,
Yeah,
knowing that this issue is not, it doesn't point the finger at the parent, right? Parents are
mhm,
generally feeling to blame. And when they
totally.
hear, oh, this is a normal stage, this is what's expected, oh, this much crying,
Mm,
they can immediately be reassured. So I do feel like even though it's optimal to connect that prenatally, it's really still crucial to hear in the midst of, to alleviate frustration, to bolster your confidence with your partner, because everybody's trying so hard to meet these little babies' needs, and some of them are pretty extensive. Their
sure.
needs are much more difficult than the parents anticipated. And particularly now with COVID, they're not getting a lot of outside support, which, is kind of the case for many families anyway. If they don't live in a more traditional setup, or if they've moved away from their family, they're not getting a lot of support anyway. But families right now are given even less support. So it really becomes kind of crucial for partners to be working together, and having confidence in each other and their heart and the work that they're doing with their baby, rather than questioning, you know, why is this baby crying so much? Why
Right.
can't we get
Yeah.
this baby to stop crying?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, so tell me, what is that one takeaway that if we were just to hear one thing today from you, what would it be in terms of working with our families? What is the takeaway that we need to do right now, Kimberly?
I think it's crucial right now to either start, maintain, or increase our prenatal connection to families. Pregnant people right now are very stressed out. They're very anxious. The pandemic situation has made that even more extreme. Of course, we have a high rate of perinatal mood and anxiety disorders anyway, but particularly with COVID, parents are very, very concerned. Their anxieties are running very high. And the time that they need to hear this information is both prenatally and postpartum. But if you're
Right.
not connecting to them prenatally, they're not going to get the benefits of having you there to reach out to. So, particularly for doulas and educators, if you can connect prenatally and start building relationship, you're both creating reassurance, because boy, that's the thing I hear the most from families when I speak to them, is they say, it's just so nice to know that someone knows. It's just so
Right.
nice to feel like we have someone in our court that we can ask questions and get answers from and solutions. So that's what I would say is prenatal, prenatal, prenatal. And then once you build that relationship, reach out to those parents postnatally when things are hitting the fan and they don't know to reach out or they don't think to reach out because they're in their
Mhm.
bubble, that's when
Right.
you can reach out and connect with them. And you've built on that relationship that you've created prenatally. But I just think it's crucial to be stepping up our game in that prenatal connection.
Excellent. Yeah, I think, yes, I mean, of course, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think there's always been a lack of, prenatal education in a lot of areas. But yeah, instead of, I mean, essentially, if I think about it, it makes so much more work that I'm even having to work through with families postnatally if I haven't invested in the time that I do have them, albeit brief sometimes, but like you said, we're now in this opportunity where, we've already got families that are somewhat frantic, nervous, anxious, unpredictable things are happening. So, it's important that we can do due diligence and take opportunity right now to really connect with them. I certainly appreciate that conversation so much, Kimberly. It really just reminds me and reinforces that there are things I can do right now in order to support those families. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think if families are only being reached out to virtually, you need to build that prenatal education and relationship so that you can reach out to them virtually because they don't know the value of it. It's not common enough to have the virtual connection. And so if you
Right.
have that, then you can build on it. And when you reach out to say, "Hey, I can do a virtual visit," or let's connect over the phone or Zoom," they're saying, "Yes, this is already a person we trust."
Right. Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Great, great suggestions. Thank you for that. So I just wanted again just to I want to hear like where did your drive come from, in terms of working in this particular area? Like did it catch your attention at some point? Did you see a gap in knowledge, generally for practitioners and families? When did this all start for you?
I've always been interested in soothing. That's always been a
Mhm.
big focus ever since I started. But I really was seeing families start to fall apart around 3 or 4 weeks. And you get enough calls of the same nature that you start to say, okay, what's really happening here? Like,
Mhm.
why are these families breaking down? What is the cause? And we started realizing that everyone's saying their baby's crying more. My baby's crying more. And of course, our hospital system had programs in place to educate for shaken baby syndrome and the period of
Right.
purple crying. So I was familiar with those programs, but I didn't really make the connection to
Mhm.
preparing parents for how it was going to look versus
Right.
just educating them on how to protect their babies. And so it just resonated in my heart that we have to start getting parents the information rather than trying to give that information in the early prenatal period when we know that they don't learn very well, but
Right.
saying it up front to say this is what's coming. And the
Mhm.
more I've taught millennials, the more I realize they want a plan. There's a
Mhm.
lot of uncertainty, and they're looking for some kind of rubric to lead them through to say, okay, here's some parameters on how that's going to be.
Yeah.
And there's just not very many, right? Babies are unique, experiences are different, birth outcomes are uncertain. Um, just like everything right
Yeah.
now is uncertain. So I felt like the more I learned about parents, the more they were like, just tell me what is normal. Just tell
Right.
me what I can expect. And if this is how it's going to be, tell me how to cope and how to make it better. And
Yeah.
then I also saw a lot of families really struggling with the level of support they were getting from their own family.
Mhm.
The expectations were very, very high that their family would do everything. And not everybody's equipped to deal with a really fussy baby. Not
Sure.
everybody is equipped to take care of a family instead of being taking care of the baby as a focus. So that
Sure.
was sort of my heartbeat when I realized like we just need to start giving parents a better expectation of what's normal,
Mm.
and of course give them tools on how to soothe. Right, soothing and
Sure.
understanding is like my heartbeat. That's what I want parents to learn. But if you don't know
Mm.
that it's going to be so difficult, then you kind
Yeah.
of feel blindsided.
Yes. Yeah. I think this, it's interesting. I too we've been talking about this, a theme sort of, at our conference this year about expectations, planning ahead, and those types of things. And it is not true that parents don't want to know. They don't want to go into this blindly. They'd rather have the tools and they want the information. So why and how can we, we get it to them? So I love that your heart beats for this. It just, it's exciting for me because it just know it. First of all, I know I can always use you as a resource, and that's why, of course, I'll be listening to your presentation. But not only that is that it's my heart too that families feel like they can make an informed decision and they don't feel left wondering what they did wrong on their journeys. I don't want parents to feel that way ever. So giving the information equally to me, from me to them, is so important as well. So uh, we're in this together. That's what I keep saying. We're in this together. But collectively, as a community, as professionals, we can work together on this as lactation consultants and doulas and nurses. We can all get on the same page and provide the information to our families. And I know that that's something that's important to you as well.
Yeah, building confidence in parents, I think, is just crucial. I think we don't listen to our instincts enough and we don't
Right?
trust ourselves. I think there's so much questioning that happens after a baby's born. And, there's so much, are we doing it right? Are we doing it perfectly? We want to just be the best parents we can be. And that is a pretty universal statement. I mean, that
Sure.
is what most of my families are believing
Mm,
and wanting and desiring to be. And then they
yes.
are met with sometimes the harsh reality of the needs of an infant and
Yep.
their own needs being pushed to the back burner very quickly, very suddenly, very urgently. And that can
Yes.
be a huge transition. So that's also just part of my heart is to have parents feel like, okay, we can do this. We
Absolutely.
have ourselves, we have each other, we have maybe a circle or a village or a family, and let's utilize them in the best possible way so we can have some harmony.
Good.
Because it's a bumpy road and any little harmony will take, right?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Well, thank you so much, Kimberly. It's been fabulous sitting down with you once again and talking about this topic and just talking through some of the elements that we really can do right away in order to support our families. And I'm certainly looking forward to having you at our Gold Birth and Beyond conference, where once again you will be live and able to engage with our all of our delegates, and of course we'll have an opportunity for them to ask you questions as well about this particular topic and so much more. So thank you for sitting down with me here today.
You're welcome. Thanks for being with me.
And thank you to all of our viewers for listening in. It's great to have you here once again. Don't forget, you can post questions down below as well. We'll love to hear your perspective on this particular topic and more. And we'll look forward to having you, of course, join us at our Gold Birth and Beyond conference. You can find all the details at goldbirthandbeyond.com on our website to register. And we'll see you live online at the conference. Bye bye for now, everyone.